Hello there, friends. CJ here. I want to talk about Tony Romo. The reason for that is that Tony Romo thinks he can play for another 4 or 5 seasons. What do I think about that? I think about that what probably most people think about that. There's just no way. Now, if he somehow plays as a starting quarterback for another 4 or 5 seasons, then I'll hand in my football analyst card and I'll say I know nothing about this game. I will say that I know nothing about the human body and what it can put up with if Tony Romo is a starting quarterback consistently, really, if at all, in the NFL at age 41 or 40. I just see no way. This is a guy who's had trouble playing golf because of his back issues, I believe. And, I understand that golf has to do with your back and your swing. A lot of it is up to what you put into your back and your delivery when you swing. And I get that, and I don't want to minimize that. But I don't see how Tony Romo can play more than another 3 years maximum. And I think the Dallas Cowboys giving in and drafting Dak Prescott, but not only that, but pursuing Paxton Lynch with such vigor, um, shows you that they're very serious about grooming a quarterback for the future. And you simply don't put a young quarterback on the bench for 4 or 5 seasons, grooming him, waiting for the other guy to retire. That doesn't make any sense at all. So clearly the Cowboys are interested in moving forward, and the fact that they really wanted to trade back into the bottom of the first round of the NFL draft to get Paxton Lynch, and the fact that Jerry Jones was so distraught over the fact that they couldn't pull off the trade tells me that, yeah, we're looking at 2 or 3 seasons, not 4 or 5. I felt that the season that ended with the catch that wasn't a catch, I thought Dallas's window was that year. I thought they had a very real chance of doing something that year. And I thought, and there might be some debate over this, but in my mind, that was the best Cowboys team that I had seen since their Super Bowl runs in the 90s when I was a kid. They were clicking. And the talks of the people who've called Tony Romo a choker and what have you, yeah, there have been big games where he's thrown picks at the end and mistakes have been made, but you know what? It's not his fault they lost that playoff game. I'll tell you that. The one with the catch that wasn't a catch. That's not his fault. And I say this as an Eagles fan. I know I point this out in every video, but the reason I do that is to give you perspective. I'm talking about the Dallas Cowboys, but I'm being as honest and analytical as I can possibly be. Now, concerning Dak Prescott, people love his awareness and they love his speed. He's fast. He can run into people and get that extra step. He can fight for the first down when he makes a run. He is a smart guy. He can make some really smart throws. The concern is accuracy, and accuracy is a big issue. You just can't be a successful long-term starter in the NFL if you consistently struggle with your accuracy. Now, that doesn't mean you can't miss throws every now and then. Tom Brady misses throws. It happens. But you need consistency, and that's what Dak Prescott is going to have to do over these next couple seasons while he prepares to take over the reins from Tony Romo, unless the Cowboys draft another quarterback in the next couple of seasons who they decide they like even more. But I don't see why they can't work with Dak Prescott and see what he has and see if there's a potential starter in him. Now, I'm not saying that Dak Prescott is going to be the best thing ever. The truth of the matter is, I have no idea. He could go out there. He could develop. I mean, he has a lot of talent now. Ezekiel Elliott, everyone thinks he's going to be a baller. Everyone thinks Ezekiel Elliott's going to make people forget that DeMarco Murray was ever even there. And as long as Elliott stays out of trouble, and we've heard about him and the party drugs and his roommate moving out because he can't stand the partying and all that, if Elliott stays healthy, and I mean, that's a big if for everybody in this league because it's fast and violent. And there are a lot of big dudes chasing you down, so if he stays healthy is a big concern for everyone at every position in the NFL, quite honestly. But what I'm getting at is there's a lot of surrounding talent on that offense. And if Dak Prescott can get himself going and grow within these next couple years into NFL readiness, then he could be good enough. And the question then becomes, well, is good enough good enough? Everyone's always looking for that all-star quarterback, and by all-star, year in, year out all-star guy who goes to 4 or 5 Pro Bowls at least, though I talked about in another video how the Pro Bowl, there are a lot of guys who make the Pro Bowl who have good seasons, not necessarily great seasons, but get there because of the people who essentially call out of it, or however they decline their invitation in writing, or I don't know if their agent writes the letter or how that works. Haven't worked in the NFL before in that capacity, or in any capacity at all, but we'll see. Dak Prescott to me is a project. I don't see him going in week 1 and kicking butt, and he's not supposed to. He doesn't need to. We don't know what Tony Romo's future holds. I don't want to be that guy who projects when someone's going to get hurt. That doesn't seem moral to me. That would be wrong to kind of pinpoint an exact day and go, oh yeah, he's going to get hurt then. So I'm not going to say that, but I feel that whatever surgeries Tony Romo gets, the fact of the matter is the human body can only take so much. We're now, because of like Brett Favre, for example, we're coming to expect quarterbacks to play until they're 40. Well, you saw what happened to Peyton Manning. Yeah, he had a unusual issue with his neck, and then the foot. I know Drew Brees had a version of that as well, though Peyton Manning's, from what I read, is a worse version of it and a more painful one, though I'm sure Drew Brees was in a lot of pain as well. It doesn't sound like a fun injury to have, that particular foot injury, but once you get up there in years, injuries happen. You know, Brett Favre's Iron Man streak came to an end of consecutive starts as a quarterback, so I'm not questioning Tony Romo's toughness. I know some people do. I understand that there have been some big moments where, you know, like the thing that happened with the hold years ago and all that. I get that. But I think Tony Romo is a very tough guy. I think it's an issue of his body not cooperating with his toughness. So I can't pinpoint the exact day that we're going to talk about Tony Romo as a retired NFL quarterback. But in terms of specifically planning, if I'm the Dallas Cowboys, I look at this upcoming season and possibly the season afterward is my 1 to 2 years in which I have a shot to go out there and compete potentially for a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to pick the Cowboys to go to the Super Bowl. That's not me. That's not my pick. But who knows? Surprises happen all the time. We know Dallas was close to being a Super Bowl team not too long ago. So maybe this year rather, and the following year, they step up and they get back to that level. The truth of the matter is, no one knows for sure. We'll see.